So one day there was this peaceful kingdom of mushroom people. Then these turtles showed up and turned everyone into bricks or something. Then this lizard guy kidnaps the princess. So Mario was a plumber who found a really big pipe and went into it. He was now in the Mushroom Kingdom and decided he was going to save the princess. So now he decides to go to every castle in the land to see if she is there, but it turns out she is always in another castle or something. He does this like 8 times. Sometimes he is underwater or on giant mushroom trees. The point is it takes him a really long time to finally reach her. At the end, Mario destroys the bridge that the Lizard King is standing on and he falls into lava. Mario the plumber rescues the princess, saves the day, and nothing bad ever happens to them again. So that's the end of the story. Mario is the hero. Do you want to see more poorly drawn video game plots? You should go ahead and hit the subscribe button. So there was this thing called the Triforce. It had mystical powers. One day an evil army attacked the land of Hyrule and stole the Triforce of power. There was a pigman guy named Ganon. He was in charge of the army. Princess Zelda was scared, so she broke apart the Triforce of Wisdom and hid 8 pieces of it throughout the land. This elf lady named Impa was in charge of finding someone who could defeat Ganon, and the princess was put in a prison or something. Then this kid named Link showed up. Impa told him to collect the Triforce pieces and defeat Ganon. But it was dangerous to go alone, so an old man gave Link a sword. Link found a couple of pieces, but he didn't know how to swim, so he got a raft and some other items along the way. After what seemed like a very long time, he had a lot of things in his pockets and found out where Ganon was. He was able to defeat Ganon and rescue Princess Zelda, and then nothing bad ever happened to them again. That is the end of the story, and Link is the hero. If you want to see more poorly drawn video games, you should subscribe. So this one time, Mario had a weird dream where he opened a door and heard a voice. The voice told him that the world of Subcon was under the curse of wart because he hates vegetables or something. Then he woke up and went on a picnic with Luigi, Toad, and Princess Toadstool. They went into a cave for some reason and saw the same door from Mario's dream and went into it. So now one at a time they decide to help the people of Subcon by throwing vegetables at them. That must be why a lot of them are shy. But now I guess they all have superpowers. Toad can run really fast and Luigi can jump very far. The princess can now levitate for a short time. I think she might be a magician or something. Mario chooses to stay bland so no one likes him anymore. So now they decide to go find Wart, but first they have to fight this creature that shoots eggs out of its face. They also have to go to the casino a lot. They do this like 20 times. Sometimes they climb up onto hills really high up into the sky, and sometimes they even stand on whales. The point is it takes them a really long time to get there. At the end they finally fight Wart. I understand why he doesn't like vegetables because he is burping up a lot of bubbles. They give him even more vegetables until he finally dies. The people of Subcon celebrate by parading his dead body around town, and then nothing bad ever happens to them again. That is the end of the story, and Luigi is the hero because he is the best. Except it was like Inception because it was a dream after all, even though Mario woke up from the first dream. If you want to see more poorly drawn video game plots, you should subscribe. So this one time there was a really big city. Somewhere in the city this gorilla escapes a zoo or something. Then it kidnaps a lady and brings her to the top of a construction site. He jumps a lot and the girders change shape. So So this man who was a carpenter was really good at jumping, so they called him Jumpman. He decides he's going to save the lady. But the gorilla was good at throwing barrels and he threw them down the construction site. That didn't bother Jumpman though until one of the barrels caught fire. Eventually Jumpman gets to the top to rescue the lady, but the gorilla keeps taking her away. They do this like 4 times. Sometimes there are conveyors and sometimes there are elevators. The point is it takes him a really long time to finally reach her. At the end, Jumpman decides to outsmart the gorilla and takes the rivets out of the building. Then the floor collapses and the gorilla falls like 40 feet and dies or something. Jumpman rescues the lady, saves the day, and then nothing bad ever happens to them again. That is the end of the story and Jumpman is the hero. If you want to see more poorly drawn video game plots, you should subscribe. So this one time, Mario, Donkey Kong, Yoshi, and Pikachu were prancing through a field of flowers. Then Mario decides he's going to trip Yoshi because Mario is a sociopath. Donkey Kong sees this as a chance to punch Mario in the head. I think they may have some unresolved history or something. They then all decide to pummel Yoshi again. And Donkey Kong throws Pikachu like a barrel. Donkey Kong is good at throwing things. After they all beat each other up, they decide they want to fight their friends as well. They make a list of all the big names they know and choose to fight them. Now they travel to different lands and get more people involved. They do this like 9 times. So after they get their fill putting each other in half Nelsons, a giant hand appears in the sky and wants to fight. Pikachu is going to fight the hand but has to fight everyone else first because they now have a taste for blood. Sometimes he has to break a lot of targets and sometimes he has to board a lot of platforms. The point is it takes him a long time to get there. At the end, Pikachu finally fights the hand and electrocutes it and it dies, and then nothing bad ever happens to them again. That is the end of the story, and Pikachu is the hero because he is the best. Except it was like the end of St. Elsewhere because it was all in the imagination of a little boy and Pikachu probably shouldn't have shocked him. If you want to see more poorly drawn video games, you should subscribe. So this one time there was a kid named Mac. He was really little. I think he had a nickname but I can't remember it. Mac joined a gym and met Doc Lewis. Doc teaches Mac how to box to make up for being so little and because he felt bad for him. Mac was really good at punching away his insecurities, so he joined a boxing tournament or something. The first guy was easy to knock down because he was French. Another guy was from an island with a lot of hippos. He was so big that his shorts kept falling down. I don't know the rules of boxing, but I don't think these guys were in Mac's weight class. This one guy was able to teleport around the boxing ring. I think he was a magician or something. I also think the fights would be more fair if they didn't use a plumber as the referee. Sometimes Mac and Doc would take a break and go for a jog and a nice bike ride. They do this like 2 times. After what seems like a really long time, Mac has to fight Mr. Dream. He has a perfect face because no one has ever hit him in it before. Mr. Dream tells Mac to go home because he doesn't want to kill him in an unsanctioned boxing match. Mac ends up hitting Mr. Dream so hard that he dies and Mac wins, and then nothing bad ever happens to him again. That is the end of the story and Mac is the hero. And Doc thinks you should join the Nintendo Fun Club. If you want to see more poorly drawn video game plots, you should subscribe. So all the way in the future year of 2000, some aliens got together and formed the Galactic Federation, and everybody was happy. Except the space pirates who attacked other spaceships. The pirate attacks got really bad, so they called in some space hunters. Then the pirates attacked a research station and stole something called a Metroid, which was actually probably okay because the Federation was bringing that thing back to Earth or something. So now the Metroid is at the space pirate hideout on planet Zebes. The Federation sends the police, but the pirates won't come out. So then they send someone named Samus to go inside instead. But there are some small spaces that Samus can't get into, so Samus learns how to turn into a ball. Samus couldn't jump very high or freeze stuff either, but then found out how to be able to do those things. After what seems like a really long time, Samus shoots an alien lizard and dragon. Samus then destroys a really large brain and then leaves, and then nothing bad ever happens to them again. That is the end of the story, and Samus is the hero and a girl. If you want to see more poorly drawn video game plots, you should subscribe. So this one time there was a guy whose name was Thomas. He was really good at Kung Fu. He knew all of the Kung Fu techniques like punch, kick, and jump kick. I think he was a black belt. There was also a lady named Sylvia. I think she was Thomas's girlfriend or something. Sylvia gets captured by the mysterious Gang X and is brought to the top of their castle. So Thomas has to go and fight a lot of people. Sometimes they throw knives, but other times they just want to hug Thomas. Other times he has to kick dragons and snakes and even punch giant bugs in the face. Thomas also has to fight a lot of non-animal people. One guy uses a stick and another guy uses a boomerang. Those guys are easy for Thomas. There's another guy who if Thomas punches in the head it just falls off. But it's okay because it grows back. I think he is a magician or something. After what seems like a really long time, Thomas finally has to fight Mr. X. Thomas uses all three of his Kung Fu techniques and hits Mr. X so hard he dies. Thomas rescues Sylvia, saves the day, and then nothing bad ever happens to them again. That is the end of the story, and Thomas is the hero. If you want to see more poorly drawn video game plots, you should subscribe.